Hey guys, I'm back for my disappearance. I was a hermit for a couple weeks, and to be honest with you guys, sometimes I just get shy. I just, whenever people start listening to me, I start to turn inward and become a recluse. But I wanted to talk about AI depression, if you will. Now, you might be saying, what does that mean? Let me explain. So, a couple years back, before AI existed, I found my purpose in life through art and my ability to create. For me, that truly gave me like purpose in life, and it gave me kind of a meaning to life, and it made life feel vibrant and rich, and it was like the spice of life for me. Creativity, creating, expressing yourself in a human way. And that's kind of what I live for. I spent many years learning every, medium of media I could. I learned audio engineering, I learned editing, I learned film. I could still tell you a lot of things about all types of cameras. I still follow cameras and stuff. I got into all of that stuff. I even got into acting, improv, and I still do stand-up comedy. But there's something about the way that AI has kind of devalued all of these art forms and taken the humanity out of it that has made me quite depressed. The job I was most proud of ever was being a YouTube script writer for this big channel. They had about 500,000 subscribers at the time. They have probably 1 million now, but it was actually my friend that I became friends with this guy from TikTok because I still do, but I used to actually have a decent following on TikTok, and I made a lot of cool connections on TikTok. But I'm not going to talk about details about this guy because I'm going to just keep his life private, but he was also an artist. And he used to reach out to me and be like, hey, you want to make music videos or, stuff like that? Or do you want to, make films? Or I guess what I'm getting at is people used to reach out to me to ask me for my expertise because I was really into video production. I wanted to be a director of photography. And that was my dream. So people all the time, to the point that it was annoying, used to always ask me to help. And it gave me a feeling of purpose. But anyways, this guy, he saw that I did stand-up, and then he asked me if I wanted to work for his channel. I didn't know this guy had a channel. I was actually amazed that this guy that I kind of knew, was kind of friends with, he had a channel. and it had so many subscribers. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, wow, I love YouTube. YouTube has been my friend my whole life in a way. When I was in high school, I used to watch YouTube because I felt like I was friends with people that I watched. And that's how I spent my time. I used to watch YouTube for hours, and I had my favorite creators. And I'd watch them for, periods of time, and they felt like my friends. Anyways, so being able to create for YouTube with a team of other artists, that was the most proud of a job I'd ever been in my life. I was so proud to tell people that I was the writer for this channel, and these videos that did well, some of them, just performed regularly, but when the video did well, I was so proud of that. And now I just have a job where I do nothing. I work security, and it's a good job, but I really just do nothing. And, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that in a world where AI has devalued all types of skills, I just feel jealous of the generations, maybe my parents' generation, that got to experience life when you could do a creative job and make it a career. And a lot of people say well, a creative job was never a solid career. And I agree. It was always an absolute dream to have a creative job. And I actually got to experience that. I loved researching and writing scripts, and the process of seeing the script actually turn into a full production video was like unlike anything I'd ever seen. And it was one of the most fulfilling things I've done. Not fulfilling maybe on a spiritual level, but fulfilling in terms of feeling like really deeply happy. Like I was, like I had a purpose in something. And what I loved the most about it was that I knew that people watched the videos, and I saw myself as a high schooler in some of the times when I didn't have as many friends, and I used YouTube to feel like I was friends with somebody. And I was happy that I got to go back and I got to, sorry my voice is weird, I have a stuffy nose, but I was happy I got to go back and that I got to basically create a kind of experience where other people could be entertained, and so basically kind of went full circle. Another time when I felt kind of fulfilled was when I used to make TikTok videos. I miss, I guess what I'm getting at is I miss when creatives were valued for having skills that other people didn't have. And that might sound like I'm being elitist, but it's not elitist because everybody loves that. The people that tutor you in math when you are struggling with math, those people they have a skill that you don't have. And in turn, because of that, it makes that person feel useful, valuable, and like they're an asset that is helpful in the world. And, any creative skill now is kind of, the bar has been completely lowered to the point where it doesn't take any work. It doesn't take any skill. It doesn't take any labor. It doesn't take the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. And if I'm being honest, it simply makes me kind of feel like I don't know what my purpose is anymore. Now that everybody can create, although they're not really creating, or everybody can have a good voiceover voice that I used to spend hours on, or everybody can write a fantastic script that I spent my whole life learning from the time I was young. And everybody can produce music. And I never really got into producing music, but you get my point. I guess the only thing I really have left is that I play piano. I play piano, and people can't do that in person. But on the internet, that doesn't really matter as much anymore. Everybody can write poetry to somebody that they love. And that person that is receiving that poetry will never really know if that person wrote it from the depths of their heart, or if they just asked some chatbot to generate it. And that is exactly what is dismaying to me. And that's exactly what's depressing to me, is that all the things I held near and dear to my heart that were an expression of my soul, that I used to communicate my feelings of life to the world, have been undermined and also reduced in trust to the point where if I wrote a piece of poetry, people wouldn't know if it was something authentic or not. And that's just being done to everybody. Nobody knows what's real or not. Nobody knows what's somebody's expression of their soul or not. And because of that, we're creating a low trust, soulless society in terms of artistic expression. And that saddens me, because everything worth living for me, and I'm not saying anything, when I say living for, I'm not saying anything suicidal. What I'm saying is everything that gets me up in the morning and gets me out of bed is an expression of art. And sharing that art. And a lot of people make fun of people that are upset about it. But I think the people that are most upset about it are the people that felt the deepest connection to art. I don't think that makes you silly for being upset about it. You know, when that image generator came out and it generated Studio Ghibli art so that anybody could make it, I think I remember seeing something that the creator of Studio Ghibli cried. And people just wanted to make fun of him and laugh at him. But like, you would be crying too if you put so much into that art, dude. If you like essentially dedicated your life to your art and your craftsmanship, and you saw that, you know, you saw it be knocked off to the point where everything you dedicated yourself to renders you useless, you would feel that type of emotion too. I miss art, man. I miss creativity. I miss not feeling like I don't know if something's legit or not. I miss so badly the idea that anything I see on the internet is something that somebody made. Somebody. Even if it's garbage, even if it's total crap, they still had to think of that crap. And I think that's hilarious. Slop wasn't slop back then, because even if it was low effort garbage, they still had to put in time, energy, and effort and thought into that low effort garbage. And you could still see their writing style, their soul, their fingerprint on that garbage video. That stupid tutorial that was total clickbait. You could still see the person behind it. And now it's just soulless. It's not even a person anymore. It's just nothing. It's just a freaking void. We're left with nothing. You know, even when they used to have content farms and they'd get a bunch of people from some third world country to write whatever it was, at least that person still wrote it. Somebody wrote it. If it's some random person from Delhi that wrote the video you're watching, it might still be good. At least it makes sense. At least you can see the human thought patterns behind it. And if they had just copied it, it would also still be good. That's what it was before AI. It was just plagiarism. But guess what? Plagiarism was really good. Because guess what? The person that's getting plagiarized is always a great writer. The person that's getting plagiarized is always an expert. And that person that plagiarized, they put thought and energy and effort and blood and sweat and tears and craftsmanship into their work. So even if I'm listening to a video that was plagiarized, it would have still sounded good. Even if you took snippets of different copy and paste moments and you put it all into an essay, it still would be better than AI, because what AI does is it plagiarizes all of us for our blood, sweat, and tears, and for our heart, everything we put into our work. And the most upsetting part is it makes it worse. It plagiarizes us and makes it worse. It takes the humanity out of plagiarization. So the thing is, if you get plagiarized, at least that's a compliment to you, because you did such a good job that someone else wanted to steal your work and pass it off as their own. But when AI plagiarizes us, it doesn't tell you what part. You don't know what amount of your work is influenced by it. You know, there is no plagiarism anymore, and there's not even any credit given to you. Plagiarism was better than AI because at least you could feel credit and you'd get the compliment that somebody thought you were valuable enough and your work was good enough that they wanted to copy it. Society just feels so soulless now, so sanitized. And I'm affected by it because I love art, man. I love creating. And let me go back to my point. I miss more than anything going on YouTube and knowing that every video I saw took time to either write the script or effort to make the video. And that, you know, that basically everything that you're seeing is somebody's personality. Somebody thought of it. You know, someone's being authentic. Even if it's garbage, even if it's formulaic, it's authentic at least. And now I can't go anywhere on social media without just running into AI slop 24/7. I don't even know what comments are real. It's just upsetting, man. I don't really know what the solution is. I guess go outside. I guess play music with a keyboard in person. I just miss when I miss when I felt valuable for my skills. That's what I miss. That's the takeaway from this video. And a lot of people will probably say, well, that's how people felt in the Industrial Revolution. But it's not. It's not the same thing. Because in the Industrial Revolution, what I did was not something I took pride in necessarily. You know, me screwing on toothpaste caps isn't something I exactly held near and dear to my heart. But craftsmanship, art, music, all of that, which is an expression of your soul, something that keeps you alive, that gives you life force, that was still there after my job got automated, which I frankly hated anyways. Right? If I was in the Industrial Revolution. You know, people always had art after their job got taken away, you know? People always still had art. Art was probably their coping mechanism. Art was probably their escape. People would make art about their job being taken away. People would make art and express themselves in that way to deal with the feelings they were feeling because of the fact that their job got automated. And now what do? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to make art about not being able to make art anymore? Am I supposed to make art about not feeling valuable anymore because of all the skills I built up over the years have just become redundant and become, completely accessible to anybody? I guess I could, but art is not just taking away a job though. Like that's the thing. Like us being able to make a job out of art, that was just the dream scenario. We would have still been happy working at McDonald's with our art that wasn't ruined by AI. We would have been happy as a clam. We would have do you know how many people are like that have a job they hate but they still get to express themselves, be a musician, create, and they love that? Art was what we had. Art being your job is just the cherry on top. It's not about that. It's about the fact that our ability to cope with life and express ourselves and the stuff that made us feel alive, that has been replaced and completely devalued to the point where it feels like the world's trying to tell you that you don't matter as an individual. Because anything you can do to express your soul, to express your emotions, they can be completely, recreated, and they can be made better and faster. And that just feels like an insult to you as an individual. That feels like an insult to me as an individual. That is what I'm talking about. Anyways, man, that's all I got to say. It's hard to put this feeling into words. I've been trying my best. Does anyone else in the comments feel similarly to me? Or am I... You know what? I'm not even going to say that. I know people feel similarly to me. I just kind of feel like, what am I here for? And not in a serious way. I just mean what's my purpose now? What do I do? And it's just, again, it's different when it's art. It's not just like some industrial job being automated. I never had it as a requirement for me to have art be my job. And a lot of people got confused in my AI ruined my life video. I never needed it to be my job. I was perfectly happy with art as a side thing. But there's just something about the fact that I can't just view artistic expression and creativity anymore with the lens of this was all made by a human. Wow, this is awesome. I have to constantly be skeptical and wonder if this is really coming from a human soul or if it's just some, generated thing from a black box. And that just makes it not enjoyable anymore for me. And I guess that's what's upsetting. So yeah, sorry if this is a bit depressing video, but just gotta talk about it, because there have been a lot of tools that have come out that, AI just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And I would say, I would make a video on it, but I just kind of don't care anymore. What's the point, what do you know, like, I guess I just don't get, what is the point? Like, here's the other thing, you know? Machine learning, AI technology is the first time I've kind of seen an industry pop up, which is pretty much the only way to secure your future, where the barrier to entry is almost impossible. It's almost, you know, unobtainable. Um, let's say you wanted to just say, well, screw it. Okay, you know, screw art, screw being creative. I'm not going to be an artist anymore. I'm going to become a computer scientist and work and create an AI company. I'm going to turn to the dark side and I'm going to sell AI and sell the shovels. The best that you're going to end up doing is just buying a licensing a existing white label AI and just repurposing it for some type of thing. And based on how fast this market is moving, you're probably going to get replaced even if you succeed within a couple months. I mean, I've seen people start a business with AI where it solves a problem, and then ChatGPT comes up with an update. And then after that update, you know, basically it has a new feature which completely puts your AI business out of business. And if you want to really be on the cutting edge of AI and actually make something completely new, how are you going to do that? To buy a GPU to train the AI, at minimum, that's going to cost like $20,000. There are servers. I mean, how are you going to compete against billions of dollars of investment from, you know, OpenAI and stuff? So yeah, I'm not exactly the most optimistic right now, but I don't want to make you guys depressed. So let me try and find a positive note to leave it on. This isn't exactly easy to do. I think AI might just force a lot of us to stop spending so much time on the internet, although I enjoyed internet subculture that had to do with art and creativity. But maybe it will force us to just go outside and touch grass, and maybe we can be creative. We can be creative in other ways, and we can be creative in person. I mean, if you paint a painting, besides sharing it digitally online now, but if you paint a painting and you have a physical painting, that's still a painting, and that still can't really be redone by AI, I guess. And if you play piano, there still aren't robots that can really play piano, although I'll give that about 3 years. I still sound pessimistic, but you know, guys, I have found a lot of fun hanging out with some friends that enjoy music and collaborating music wise with them. Like I play piano, so I bought a little keyboard and I make little beats and music, and my friend freestyles over them, and I have a lot of fun, and that feels like what creativity used to be to me. So yeah, so I see an optimistic future. And another thing that's probably not taken over by AI yet is stand-up comedy. I will admit, you know, and probably improv and probably acting. Yeah, but theater too. But I've seen AI come up with stand-up comedy bits, and Some of them are really good, but the truth is they're just kind of rehashed jokes from other comedians. So realistically, if you took some of those, if you used AI to make your comedy set, somebody would probably point out that you sound exactly like a different comedian. So basically, I don't think that AI can really do stand-up comedy, and it definitely can't do your stage presence. Maybe it could give you some starting point ideas for concepts. But yeah, anyways, hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next